Today on our 2019 Jeep Cherokee, you're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to show you how to install Demco Tabless Base Plate Kit, part number DM9519340. Your base plate is going to give you a solid connection point between your tow bar and your vehicle so you can safely flat tow it down the road. This is what our base plate looks like when it's installed. As you can see, it's not going to stick out from the vehicle. It looks very, very nice on there. It keeps the front of the vehicle looking very nice and clean. Your base plate is going to be one of 5 main components in a flat tow setup. Your other 4 are going to be your braking system, your wiring, your safety cables, and your tow bar. We're going to have nice caps that are included in our kit when not in use. It's going to cover those holes to kind of keep the dirt and debris from getting in. We're also going to have tabs. What really makes this base plate nice is that these tabs actually will mount to the tow bar and stay on the tow bar. Unlike some of the other ones out there that you disconnect the tow bar and then you have to turn the tab and you have to pull the tab out and then you have to find somewhere to store the tab. These actually mount to the tow bar, they stay on it all the time and you don't have to worry about losing them. So that's a really nice feature with this base plate. And all you do when you insert them or you add them in, you slide it in like this, you spin it, and it locks it into place. It's going to have a nice black powder coat finish to resist any rust or corrosion, and it's going to mount directly to the vehicle's chassis. The holes here, these are going to be for your safety cable hookups, and you're going to have one on each side of the vehicle. This base plate is compatible with other manufactured tow bars, however, it may require a different bracket, which is sold separately. As far as the installation goes, it's a pretty straightforward installation. You will have to remove the fascia. One thing I do recommend this kit does not come with is red Loctite, which it requires you to use on all bolts being installed. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let me show you how to get it installed. First thing we need to do is we're going to remove this panel. There's going to be 13 pushpin fasteners we need to remove. You're going to have some right here in the front and then along the top of it. How we remove them is you're going to pry up the center, and it's easier. You can do this with a flathead screwdriver. Trim panel tool like this works. We just want to make sure that we're getting the base with it. We're going to remove this panel, we're going to set it aside for now. Next we'll take an 8mm socket. We're going to have 3 screws we need to remove on the inside of our fender well. This is going to be on the front side of the tire. Next thing we need to do is we need to remove our belly pan. We're going to take a 13mm socket. We're going to have 3 bolts along the front. We're going to have 4 along the back. Next we'll take a 10mm socket. We're going to have 4 bolts that run along the bottom of our fascia we need to remove. These bolts are going to be the gray colored. You can see there's black ones here. We're just taking the gray ones out. Once you remove the 3 bolts from one side of the vehicle, inside your fender well, make sure you do it on the other side. Next we're going to take a small drill bit and we're going to drill out the center of the rivet that's in each bottom corner of the fascia. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then on each side of the vehicle, pull back your fender liner, and right where this, your front fascia meets your fender, there's a 10mm head bolt right up inside. We need to remove that on each side of the vehicle. Next we're going to remove our fascia. We're going to start from the outside of the fender and work our way toward the center. You want to make sure if you have any sensors or lights that need to be unplugged, you do that while you're taking your fascia off. On your driver's side, you're going to have a plug, looks like this, if you have the sensors and the fog lights. This yellow tab you're going to pull out, the red you got to slide up. Like that, and it'll come off. Next we're going to take a 15mm socket. We're going to have 3 bolts holding on our bumper support. We're going to remove those. Then we're going to have 1 nut. We'll use a 10mm socket to remove that. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. Next, our tow hook, on the very back side of it, we're going to have a large nut. Take an 1 3/16" socket. On the back side of your tow hook, we're going to have a large nut. We need to remove that. Next, we'll take a 16mm socket. We're gonna have 2 bolts right up at the front side of our tow hook we need to remove. Then you want to remove your tow hook. This will not be reinstalled. Then we're going to repeat that same process for the other side of the vehicle. Next, we're going to have 2 bolts on the bottom of our bumper core. We're going to have this on each side. We need to remove both of those bolts. Use a 15mm socket to do that. Now, to make this easier and safer, we actually have to cut this lip off. But because we're so close to our lines here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 10mm nut off, these 2 bolts out. I'm actually going to remove my bumper beam here, pull it off, and I'll do a lot of grinding and cutting while it's off. Again, we'll use the 10mm socket, remove this nut here. And it's going to be the same thing on the other side. We'll take a 15mm socket and remove the 2 bolts on the top. Then we can slide our bumper beam off. Actually, you can see how I have it marked out here. We need to cut that lip off and try and flatten this out, grind it flat as much as possible. Let's take a cut-off wheel. I'm going to do a couple of support cuts this way, and then I'll cut this way. Once we get it cut and grind it down, we want to take some spray paint. We want to cover up that bare metal to reduce any rust or corroding later on down the road. Next, we're going to put our pull pot into place. Your bracket's going to say driver and passenger side. You'll notice that there's a cutout. It's going to go towards the center of the vehicle. Fit in just like this. Now, what I like to do is I'll take my factory hardware that goes up into my bumper. I'm going to go ahead and install that. Loosely install it for now. That'll help hold it in place. Then we're going to take our 3 bolts that we removed down here on the bottom. We're going to be putting Loctite on all of our hardware, red Loctite. If you don't have any, you can find some here at etrailer.com. Get these loosely installed. Go ahead and pull this one back out. We're going to add a little bit of Loctite to it and put it back in. Or if you really wanted to, save yourself some time, go ahead and put Loctite on all of your hardware that you're installing. That way you won't take anything back out. Next, for our 2 holes here, we're going to be using 2 of the bolts that come in the kit for each side. 10mm bolt, fender washer, and a lock washer. Next, we're going to tighten and torque all of our hardware to the specifications and the instructions. I'm going to start with this one going up to the bumper first, or bumper beam. Then we're going to repeat that same process for all remaining hardware. Once you're done with one side, you're going to repeat the process on the other. Once you're done installing your base plate, if you're going to be adding brake system, Towbar wiring, anything like that, it's a good idea to do that before you put your fascia back on. It's a lot easier to run your wires back behind and mount any brackets you may need to mount back there. If you're not adding any of that other stuff, go ahead and put your fascia back on. You're going to do it in reverse order from the way it took it off. You can see here, we're not going to need to do any further fascia trimming. Our base plate fits right into the holes where our tow hooks were. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the Demco tabless base plate kit, part number DM9519340 on our 2019 Jeep Cherokee.